Hey everyone, thanks for joining. Of course, here with Kurt. Exciting announcement. QYOU to acquire mobile gaming enterprise Maxamtech. So clearly we're going to talk some gaming, some also some acquisition stuff. So I have exciting times. Kurt, first things first, how are you?
I'm doing good. Good to see you, Jason.
Good, good. Well, look, do you want to lead us off? You want to tell us
Yeah, I
anything
mean, look,
about
I've been
Maxamtech?
I've actually been in and around the gaming world for decades. I actually got introduced into it initially with a CD-ROM company back in the 90s and then did a lot of stuff with Xbox actually when I was at Lionsgate. Um, so I did a bunch of stuff with game engines. I was trying to do some things with the Unreal Engine back in the day. So I've dabbled in the world of gaming. I did a deal with there's a company called Machinima that was big on YouTube for a while and is one of the leading gaming companies. So I've been in and around it all the time and I've always been kind of fascinated with it. And we met the guys at Maxamtech about a year ago. And I just loved what they were doing. They basically created a platform which they called Gaming 360, which was a B2B to C business where they were going to large scale companies, like Sony or Disney or whoever, and they were providing a white labeled casual mobile gaming business for them. So they would go in and you'd go to a Disney site or a Sony site or whatever Viacom site, and you go to an area and it may not all be Maxamtech. They might have, 300 games there, but there'd be a section where 50 of those games were Maxamtech games. And they were all simple, casual mobile games. So I loved it. I loved who their audience was. And their audience was mostly kids, younger people, kids to me, you know, 8 to 20, and moms. Those are who's playing games. Well, guess what? Our audience is mainly 8 to 20 and moms. And and so from that first meeting, we said, God, there's really something here. We got to do something. Well, we started talking about doing what these other companies had done and doing a white label thing. Well, then this year has gone on. We've continued to have the conversations. And I went to the board and I said, look, we're made for each other. Mobile gaming is a massive growth industry in India. These guys have got a product that's B2B to C, but we're going B2C more and more. They can continue to do some of their B2B to C stuff. There's a lot of stuff about interactivity and gamification that we've been talking about for a while. Why don't we get more serious about these guys than just like renting them? Why don't we just go after them, see if we can figure something out that can work for the founders? And that's what we did. And so I've been working on that for literally 3 or 4 months now. The founders love what our vision is for Q India and QYOU Media in general. We love what their vision is for what gaming can become across the board, doing everything from interactive stuff through commerce, through you name it. And so today we announced that instead of just, dating, we're going to get married, and we're pumped about it. I think the opportunity and the potential that it represents is massive for us.
Machinima's a crazy throwback. Wow, putting that out there, and insane how large of a region kind of India is becoming in gaming. I mean, I was looking at some stuff. I mean, probably to no surprise, second in the world only to China, and not that far behind, but like massive region. So extremely interesting. We've been talking a lot more of B2C, so great to see it. Yeah, I know general questions, of course, people asking about the deal itself and other stuff. Is there anything you want to comment on there?
Yeah, I mean the deal is a cash deal for us to take a majority stake in the company, and then we always like to structure these things. We did the same thing with Chatterbox, where the management, we obviously want them to stick around, and we also want them to be motivated with success. So we've structured a deal to be able to acquire the remaining part of the company that we don't have now, which is multiples of EBITDA and other things to be able to do that. So that's management of Maxamtech is incentivized to make this work as much as we are, which is how we like to structure the sort of financial part of the deal. I think the bigger part of it for them beyond that is that, I talk all the time on here about our loudspeaker and 125 million people that we reach weekly. I just got the report this morning from the Hindi channel, and we topped 100 million people just, on reach, what's called reach or viewership last week on that channel, which is just remarkable. We're still pushing that number and looking to grow there. And so I've often spoken recently in particular about what we refer to as our loudspeaker, which is really our ability to go out and reach a lot of people. And also, as I mentioned a second ago, the target audience, I mean, our audience are people that play mobile casual games and on their new smartphones. And in addition to that, I've spoken a lot about connected TVs and the ability to have two-way communication on connected TVs. Well, guess what? We just launched QGameX. Wouldn't that be a perfect place to put an interactive game onto QGameX on smart TVs? So there's a lot of stuff that we're doing strategically as a business that Maxamtech's capabilities fit into. And look, at the end of the day, we've kind of been a content and distribution company and marketing business in many ways in terms of what we're doing. Maxamtech is really a company of 20 technology guys and programmers. And so this really gives us a move into technology capabilities and engineering capabilities that we didn't previously have in-house, and to bring them in as part of our business. So that was a big part of it as well, actually.
Kind of like a acqui-hire type
Yeah,
scenario, and
we
obviously
did,
combination of what you guys are looking to do too. So just sounds like great synergies.
Yeah, I mean, so much of what the India thing is about. I mean, I've been, when I do investor presentations, I think the last one I did in India, I showed a Walt Disney thing, which showed everybody all the different things that intersected. The center of our universe remains creators and digital content creators. That's the center of our universe. But there's all these legs that come off of that. And part of what we're trying to do, without getting too far ahead of ourselves, without getting too far out over our ski tips, in terms of what we're doing, we're trying to diversify and create a multi-pronged revenue generation capability. Sometimes you don't know where that comes from. We might have one thing that we think is going to be big and it doesn't really turn out to be. And we have another thing that we don't think is going to be that big that turns out to be, oh, wow, that's driving a lot of, viewership revenue, et cetera, et cetera. So what we're trying to do is to do that in a smart way, where these are what I would call intelligent bets, where we're not spending some crazy amount of money jumping into some new area and saying, oh my God, this is going to be the next, shiny new object that's going to work. We're trying to do stuff that interconnects with what we're already doing. So Maxamtech already connects with QGameX before, we even thought of doing that. And so I think the opportunity that this forms is our B2C push to really start to leverage that audience through what we announced recently with QPlay, through what we're planning on doing in the gaming space with Maxamtech, through promotional stuff we've been dipping our toe in the water on like the cricket thing that we just started doing against a cricket tournament. All these combine into leveraging our viewership audience into driving revenue growth. That's what it all boils down to.
Well, look, amazing update. I guess we'll see what comes. We've been talking gaming and other types of things for a while, so it's super exciting to see what comes from that. You touched on cricket a little bit too, so obviously that's been exciting, and a lot of interesting questions coming from that we'll push on to a future video. But anything else about Maxamtech that you wanted to kind of chat about?
Yeah, I just think, these are really experienced guys. The two founders have been in and around the gaming space, and particularly the mobile gaming space, for a long time. This is really about mobile gaming and influencer gaming and what could happen with things like that we can do to create new advertising modules for brands and advertisers, and a lot of stuff that we see this being able to leverage. And I think bottom line is that our audience is the audience that's playing these mobile and casual games. And so having the ability to be able to do that in-house, I mean, you talked about the explosive growth. I mean, India's second to China. China's the biggest gaming market on the planet Earth. India's second to them. And India might catch up and surpass them over the next 2 to 3 years. So we see it as a massive opportunity, a huge move for the business. And everybody on both sides is super pumped about this.
Well, congratulations. Probably year-long journey. I know we only see the tip of the iceberg, so appreciate that. But again, congratulations on getting that done. And thanks for the great update.
Cool.
Yeah.
More to come.
Oh, okay. Good teaser right at the end of the video. Love it. Well, look, as always, thanks so much. I'm sure we'll do a good Q&A kind of update in the the coming couple weeks or month. So make sure anyone watching, if you got questions, drop it below. Make sure we do one of those soon. But Kurt, thanks so much for joining.
Awesome. Good to see you, Jason.